Welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Join hosts Dan Melnick and Qasim Masood as they explore big ideas, limitless possibilities, and engage with visionaries, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders who dare to dream big, get inspired, motivated, and find practical tips for personal growth. Think big, dream bigger, and ignite your potential.
So, welcome to Think Big with Dan and Qasim. Today, our guests are Cass, and can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Cass. This is Royce. We have a retail beef company called Rockin on the Ridge.
Perfect. So, will you let me know, what inspired you to start this business?
My family farm been operating for decades. My parents and grandparents always sold quarters and halves and whole beef to local people who wanted to purchase it. But along the line, the last few years, we've kind of realized that it's a lot of money to put out to buy even just a side of beef. So we also learned that 38% or 98% of Americans don't own a deep freeze. And so if we can cut those portions down a little bit and you're not buying a half a cow and you're buying something that fits in your refrigerator freezer, then it's a little bit easier to sell it straight off the farm. And during COVID, we had calls like every day of people looking for good beef to buy. And so we had a really long waiting list of people who were wanting to buy our meat, seeking out different ways to buy meat because the quality just wasn't there in the store and just the quantity wasn't there in the store.
How do you differentiate your business from others in the market?
I would say the way we raise our cattle, the way we, we don't bring in any feeders to put in our feedlots. All the calves that are fed out and ultimately butchered are all cattle that we were born and raised here, basically. It's kind of a complete start to finish operation, which you don't see a lot of, sure there are those, but.
And people can visit your farm as well.
Sure. Yeah, we're always welcome for people who want to come look at cows. I love to look at cows. So I'll look at them with anybody.
That's good. That's good. So I believe every business have many challenges. So what are your current challenges or most recent challenges with your business?
Keeping a steady flow of beef when it's usually only ready one time a year. They all calve January to April. And so they're all kind of ready for harvest at the same time too. So it takes a lot of cold storage and a lot of finagling to get things timed properly. Probably our biggest.
I would say, yeah, being able to keep a steady supply all the time.
So what are your purchasers originally? Like, what is your targeted audience?
Families who are looking for quality meat and people that just really enjoy cooking and having family meals and stuff like that.
Yeah, makes sense. So I believe success is not just one thing. This is dependent on the milestones. So how do you measure your success for your business?
I think it's a lot of small victories. The way we look at this is like we started with this to add in an expansion part of our farm that we couldn't financially just go out and buy more ground or go out and rent more farm ground. So I think we started this business with the mindset of this is what we're going to do from now on. There's no end time frame or we're not looking to make any money back and then move on. I think when we started this, we started as like, this is how we're going to do it from now on. So we tried to do very small little, just with like shipping, that was somewhat of an issue, at first, being able to keep the meat froze. We want to keep it froze, while we're shipping it. And we got that figured out, so we take that as a victory.
Yeah.
Just things like that, I guess, is what I look at.
Yeah. And then our feedback from our customers is good. And so we always see that. It kind of keeps us wanting to keep doing the hard days. When we get that kind of feedback, we'll be having a bad day and somebody will come in and pick up their meat and they're just like, we just love your meat. We hope you keep doing this. So it kind of keeps us going too, like hearing that from customers where we didn't used to hear that all the time.
So do you let other people know that these are the testimonials, these are the comments of our customers? Do you publish these comments somewhere or you just keep them in your chest?
not as much. We try to do advertising has been a big challenge for us. Just being, obviously we're small. We don't have like any. I guess we have a budget of advertising which we use, but it's
Mhm.
yeah, it's pretty small. I mean, it's
A lot of our growth has been word of mouth,
Yeah.
you know, of customers
Yes.
to new customers and all that. But social media has helped too. Just being able to explain things that maybe the general person doesn't understand about meat. Like there's only so many ribs on a cow. So if we're out of ribeyes, it's because there's only that much. So that gets interesting. A lot of consumer education helps with that though.
So, word of mouth is your strength and the trust. So if you are getting customers on the word of mouth, it means that you are doing some good job. But unless word don't know about these things, like if you are not spreading these words, like these are our happy customers, this is our happy clientele. So I believe you should be more active on these things, that people should know that these are your testimonials, these are your, this is something people are talking about. So yeah, this is obviously this is a part of the game. So okay, so what are your short-term goals? I believe you must have your long-term goals that are set maybe on next 5 years or 10 years, but what is that you are going to do within next 3 to 6 months, or maybe 6 months to 1 year? So what are your short-term goals?
We're currently putting up a retail building. We'll be adding some more cold storage and then just having a place where everyone can come to pick up, come see us and say hi.
It's all consolidated.
Yeah, so it's all in one place.
spot. All of our stuff is just right there.
Where we've been working a lot out of farmers markets and just out of our farm office, which is not very large. It will streamline a lot of things and kind of give us just a home base a little bit more than we have had. So
Okay.
that's our big thing right now, is getting the building done
Get
and
the
getting like
building
a nice
finished and yep,
home for our business. Yeah.
yep.
But before doing all these things, do you do you have plans to acquire new customers as well? Because obviously these things are gonna cost you a lot. So once you have your good customer base behind the scene, then maybe it will be easier for you. So do you project any numbers, like this number of customers will be after this number of months, like after 3 months, we believe this number of customers will be on our business. So is there anything sort of like this in your mind yet?
We haven't had a problem acquiring new customers. We've had more of a problem meeting the demand of our new customers.
Ah,
So it's a little backwards from what most people would think your struggles would be with a new business. But
mhm.
we had decades of people before that. We had really solid customer base, and every year that we've expanded into retail, we're like doubling that amount of customers or tripling that amount of customers, and it's been not a real hard thing for us. I think when you have good quality and you have a good product, that doesn't become a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, things speak itself. Completely makes sense. So what was your biggest aha moment so far?
I think making the switch to just retail cuts instead of selling just like bundles or sides of beef, because it really allowed people to get the products that they want and it just flies out the door. I don't know what else to say about that, but that's been
Yeah, I don't know,
probably
like
the
it.
biggest aha, was just really adding that in.
Yeah, and not trying to keep pushing bulk sales, but then just going to a retail setting. I don't know. I guess what mine would be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty good one.
Makes sense. So, in terms of your competitors, are you keeping an eye on your competitors as well? Or again, the thing is, because you have a good customer base, so you don't need to check what they are doing.
It's not that we don't pay attention to what they do.
Okay.
It's honestly that you can on a lot of people. It's like so specific, right? Where the neighbor down the road is doing grass fed,
Yeah.
or and then the guy in the next town is doing Wagyu. It's so different. I mean, you can keep track of them, but finding it's just like farming. There's no one is the same.
Yeah. We all have our own little niches, so
Yeah.
there's not, I mean, competition's there, but
I mean, it is
but
sure.
different people are looking for different things. And when you have quality, I think that's the thing that has made us successful, is just the quality that we have.
And consistency.
And the
I mean,
consistency,
yeah.
we don't have, I don't know, there's not that many farmers.
Not really.
Okay.
Looking to a packer to buy, we don't look at what the packers are doing. We don't look at what
Yeah, I'm
the
not
guy down the
concerned.
road's doing because it's different than what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Compared. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you talk about looking at our competitors, that anybody that's doing, in my opinion, anybody that's doing what we're doing, I would support 100%. You know, it's your neighbors, that's people, you know, it's your friends. I think
It's people
great.
that work hard like we do.
And-
And if we have, you
Right.
know, like I think the top 10% of quality in beef in America is now selling direct to consumer. And it's because of what the packers have done in this country and what they've done to the industry. So people are now looking more to farmers to buy direct meat because they know that's where the quality's at.
Yeah.
I think it's the consumer education that makes them go, oh yeah, I need to buy this from the farmer instead of going to the store where the quality is not as good.
Makes sense. And do you cover different ideologies as well? Because I believe there are a few people who just eat kosher meat, and there are some people who eat halal meat. So how do you manage these sort of things?
Ooh.
We don't.
Yeah. Honestly,
I guess
we don't really. I guess I
when you
know.
don't, we don't have a largely diverse demand for those things. And it's not that we wouldn't, it would take more like, I guess we'd have to learn a lot about.
Yeah. I think it would take a lot of education on our part.
Right.
To like implement something like that, I
Yeah.
guess.
And it's not that we wouldn't learn that, we would, but
Yeah.
the demand would have to be there, I guess,
Yeah.
to make a change in what we do.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
There were, like you say, yeah, if there was a large demand, I'm like, okay, maybe we would look into it. But yeah. That was something just as we were raised in the middle of the country, you know, and it's pretty conservative kind of Christian values. It's not a lot of.
But we are shipping more.
That's true. The ship, yeah. I mean, I think if we would have expanded any faster, maybe we would have had to look into that to kind of go.
Right.
You know.
We would want to capture those markets, but
Yeah.
we're kind of taking things slow and not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another study involved in it, I believe, if the demand is that much or not, because if the demand is not enough, then probably it won't be worth it.
Correct. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe whenever we are talking about success, at that time, the major thing that is covered is profits. So I'm talking about the long-term success. So mostly this is around about the profits, how much profit you earned. But do you think there are some other parameters that that an entrepreneur should keep in mind, that these are also part of the success other than profits? Just for an entrepreneur, like maybe it is not mapped on your field, but anywhere, just for an entrepreneur, what metrics he should see? These are the metrics of success.
I would say a lot of what we do, just a positive feedback from people that we do business with. I guess that's something that we take really to heart, is just, and like the loyalty of these people. They keep coming back and they said, dude, we're done with buying meat in the grocery store. That says a lot. You know, if you can change the way somebody is buying something, or change, you know, just like being able to put a change in someone's life. And that really affects me a lot, where they're just like, dude, we're done. Grocery store, we're buying from you guys, and that has a lot to do with me. I don't just.
We like the warm fuzzy feeling.
I mean, that's what we love.
But it does, we do care about our numbers. I mean, if we didn't make more money putting more work into it, we wouldn't keep doing it. It really allows us to look at things a little differently as far as our profits go. Like, what is this allowing us to do? You know, we're putting up a new building. That's a large cost, but not as large of a cost as renting a building from someone else that will never own. So when you have the space, that's like the clear path.
Yeah,
it allows us to kind of expand in a more non-traditional manner when it comes to a farm.
Correct. And being able to have control of it too. That's something. It also, like, just if you feel that kind of sense of accomplishment, like as someone who owns their own business, you should feel accomplished. And if that can give you that, that's something else too. We're in control of it now. from everything. We birthed them, we kept them
Bred 'em,
alive, we
yeah.
weaned them, we fed them, and now we can be in control of how and where and whom they're dispersed to. That's a good one for me, of not just profit making, but
Yeah.
now I'm actually in control of my animals all the way through. So that's something in our situation that I like, not just making more money on them,
Right.
but I can control, we've controlled their life for 90% of it. Why give it to someone else to,
Reap the benefits of.
Yeah. A great sense of achievement. You
Yes,
get a
exactly.
great sense of achievement. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in this case, there must be a lot of risk as well, because keeping them alive itself is a risk. So how do you manage the risk in your business, and what strategies do you use to mitigate the potential risks?
Well, it starts with when our calves are born, a lot of farmers they just let nature take its course. Well, we take it a little bit more of an invasive step and we bring them inside. They all come inside when they're born, and it's cold when they're born. We live in inclement weather, so it's really cold. A lot of times snow and rain, freezing rain, there's a lot of elements that we have to deal with. So bringing them inside gives them a chance to get dried off, warmed up, right off the bat, to where we're increasing the chance of survival from minute one.
You have to be hands-on, immediately.
And we have a very vested interest in the health of our cattle. So, we're making sure they get proper vaccinations. And if they're sick, they get antibiotics. What do we do when we're sick? We get antibiotics. So why would we not get cattle when they're sick? And I think just common sense in all of that, and just doing what's best for the health of the animal on an individual basis. Where a lot of people, they just look at it as, here's your herd and we're going to keep them all healthy. But if you have one that gets sick, they all can get sick. So just managing that on a little bit more invasive level than a lot of people do is really where it starts off, and then keeping that going throughout the whole life cycle.
Our management practices of what we do. I think that's one of those things that kind of sets out that, gives us a leg up, or not necessarily a leg up, but it would be one of the things we do that is, not a lot of people do that.
Yeah. And we grow all their food here.
Correct.
The only thing we purchase is bulk protein and supplements. So their vitamins, those kinds of things are what we purchase for their health, but the rest of it we grow on our farm for them. So all their feed is coming from us, and we know what they're eating all the time. And again, just another vested interest in the health of our cattle.
And all our breeding stock comes from here. We don't buy any cows to bring into the herd. All our cows were born and raised here, just like all the animals we take to market, just to butcher. They're all born and raised here. So I think that makes you just pay more attention to them,
because the other part of the industry is okay, you have one person that burrs the cattle, and then you have another person that takes over after they're weaned off the cow, and then they go to a feed yard, and then they're fed whatever cheap feed they can put in front of them to make them fat. And then, they go from the feed yard to a finishing yard, where they're only giving them this ration for every cow is the same. And then they go to the packer and do that process. Ours don't go to a major packer. They stay at a local facility that they do exactly what we want with them. If we say we want all these ribs, we want tomahawk ribeyes out of all of them, or we want prime rib out of all of them, that's what they give us. And if we want it all cut this thick, they cut it this thick. If we want it this thick, they cut it this thick. So we have that control over what our clients demand, and that's really nice too.
Yeah, cool. So what advice would you give to someone who is thinking about starting their own business in anywhere in the world?
Don't limit your possibilities by thinking of just what's in the box. If you're handed a box and this is all you see, you got to probably look elsewhere to make it work a little bit better for you.
Don't limit yourself. If you see what you want, that's really what you want. You have to do it. Take your time with it. Sure. I don't just jump right into it. We took several years, and planning even now what we do and the sales that we make now, it took us several years. Take your time with it. Make a really good plan. Make it very, take your time with the plan. That would be my advice. Don't just rush into something. Take your time with it. Make sure you know what you want. And when you know what you want, then you implement it and you go for it, is what I think.
Cool. Thanks for the precious advice. So, would you like to share your contact where people can reach you if they want to, your social media handles, your website, or other than that, if there's any other way to reach you guys?
Yeah. So the website is rockindontheridge.com. Our email is rockindontheridge@gmail.com. Our office phone is 217-659-7832. If you can't reach us on one of those channels, like there's social media everywhere and it links to the website and everything. I think there's a TikTok and an Instagram and a Facebook
Okay.
and Google. We're on Google Business. So we're not hard to find. You Google Rock and D and it comes up on Google. So,
Yeah.
we're not hard to find.
Perfect.
We did do
Yeah, I think so.
Perfect. So, thanks for joining us today. It was really nice to talk to you today. And we discussed really good things. So, we'll stay in touch. Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah,
We
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Bye bye.